Alright gang, welcome back to our Triple Threat Challenge here on Zabby, as I'm going to call it, because I am butchering the name brutally of what this actual map is called. It is linked down below in the description, along with all the details for this challenge in case you just stumbled across this. There are a multitude of rules on this series, so definitely probably easier for you to read down below, but from a very high level perspective, we have received a random crop from a randomizer that we have got to buy all of the fields that currently have that crop at some point to kind of complete objective or threat number 1. We've got to buy all of those fields that have that specific crop. Even when we go to buy it, if it doesn't have that crop in it, we've got to make a note of it right now, the ones that do have that crop in it, and buy that by the end of the series. We've then got to harvest each of those fields with at least one harvest of that specific crop, which in our case we got poppy. And then we've got to drill that field as well at least one time with our crop, which would be poppy. And then we've got to buy a production of some sort on the map that utilizes that specific crop, and that is the only way we're able to do anything with that crop. We cannot just go and sell it outright. We've got to turn it into some kind of production. Now, in the last episode, towards the end of it, I did notice there may be a bit of an issue with a couple of the crops, like mustard, for example. I couldn't really find anything on there, so it's still something I'm trying to think through how we would go about it if you do receive mustard. But most of them are on there, right? So I'll keep working through and see if I can figure something out for the mustard. But most of them are on there. Now, this field here is rye. We had to buy 2 fields right off the beginning. You may have got rye, and if you got rye and it's on this field, then you got lucky. You've already got one of your fields taken care of. But if not, these are just other fields that you are starting with that you own, and you're allowed to put anything you want in here. You don't have to do the crop that you got. You can put whatever crop you want in here, but if you want to do the crop you got, you're welcome to do that too. It's whatever you want to do. Just by the end of the series, you have had to buy all the fields that had that, you know, at the beginning here, had your crop on it. You've had to buy all those fields, harvest it all with that specific crop, and re-drill it all with that specific crop. Or vice versa, I guess. If it didn't have that crop on it, you've got to drill it and then harvest it, right? Makes sense? Pretty simple, honestly, but it can be a little confusing. So anyway, the description's down below on that. The loan, every January, we've got to do a new randomized question to a randomizer, or we'll decide whatever you want to do. And the first question is going to be, am I allowed to pay off my loan? And if it's yes, you're able to pay as much as you want off on that loan. If it's no, you then have to ask it another question that says, do I need to take out more of a loan? And if it says yes, then you've got to take out another $100,000 of a loan. Even if you don't need it, you have to take it out. And you'll be incurring that interest on that for the whole year. If it says no, then you're good. You can't pay off the loan, but you also don't have to take out another loan, so you're good for the whole year. And then next January, you start that same process over again. Relatively simple, but you know, having that 50-50 chance in there where you may have to take out more of a loan when you don't necessarily want to, and then you're going to be incurring all of the interest from that for the whole year, right? So it's just another unique addition that we're modifying from the original series, because this is Season 2 or Series 2 or whatever you want to call it, just to make it a little bit more complex. And then the animal, finally, you put all the different animals in there with the exception of like dogs and bees, obviously, because, you know, they're not really something that you have to take care of. You put them down and that's it. You put all the animals in there, and then whatever you get, you have to have at least 250 head of that specific animal. Doesn't matter where you put that animal. It can be on your yard area, or it can be somewhere else. Doesn't really matter, but you've got to have that as well. So at a very high level, that is the main goal here. Again, look down below in the description. There are other things that we're kind of, you know, putting into play here. That are a little bit of an optional for you, right? I'm playing on hard difficulty, among numerous other things, right? They're all down below in the description. So anyway, how's everyone doing today? I hope you're all doing well. Things are good, man. We're cruising along here. We've got to get the rest of this field over here harvested today. It is a large field. It is going to take us a while with the size of the harvester we have. We don't have the largest harvester in the world. It's not the fastest harvester in the world either. Eventually, it would be nice to make an upgrade on our harvester here, but for the time being, this is what we're going with. Now, we have $63,000 in the bank right now. It's a decent amount of money, but it's nothing crazy. I would honestly like to not spend a whole lot more than what we have right now for this year. I would like to try to get at least some more of this loan paid off. I think it's going to be beneficial for us in January if we're able to pay off a little bit of the loan, if we get the option, of course. It's a 50-50 chance. There's no guarantee we're going to be able to get it. But if we get yes, I would like to have, you know, that luxury of being able to say, okay, well, I'm going to pay off, I don't know, $50,000 of that loan, and now we only have a $100,000 loan for the next year, right? This early stage here, I think is going to be really difficult for us. $150,000 is not a ton of money. I get that. But, you know, we're going to be incurring interest every single month based off of that, right? And it's going to be somewhere in the, I don't know what the exact amount will be, but it's probably going to be somewhere around $100, $250, $300, something like that, I would think, every month that we're going to be losing off of that. So if we're able to at least pay off some of it, I think that's going to help us in the long run. It's less we have to deal with. And, yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. We'll see. Now, we are dropping straw on both these fields. We are going to have to find something to do with this straw. I do want to pick the straw up because it is going to provide us with, you know, well, quite frankly, some extra funds, right? We also could utilize this for bedding for the water buffalo. That is the animal we got, by the way. We got poppy as our crop, and we got water buffalo. So having some straw for bedding for the water buffalo, probably a smart thing for us to do, right? I'm just going to keep going straight here. And we'll come back and clean that section up. So maybe we take the straw and put it in as bedding, but I don't know. Honestly, I think right now it'd probably be more beneficial just to sell it outright and make that money. We know straw is not good to sell till November, December, January, whatever it was. One of those winter months. It's a winter month sell. We don't really have anywhere to store it, though. That's the big problem, right? We don't really have somewhere that we can go and store this. I'm almost positive that silo up there that we have is not a multi-crop silo. I do not think it can store straw. I think it's just a generic silo. So, yeah, we're going to have to see what we can do here with the straw. It may end up turning into a bigger issue than we anticipated. So, but having said all of that, once we're done with this harvest, we really don't have anything we can do as far as putting anything in the ground either, right? We don't have a drill. So we've got a lot of things that we're going to have to kind of figure out as we move along. Now, contracts are allowed. You are allowed to do contracts. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the last episode or not. It was down below in the description, but leasing is not allowed on this series. You cannot lease things. You've got to buy them outright. Doesn't mean that you can't just buy them and then resell them after you're done with whatever it is. You can absolutely do that. But you cannot lease. Leasing is not allowed. The only way you lease is if you're doing a contract, right? That's it. There's no other leasing of any sort. I can't lease something to do something on a field that I own or whatever it may be that I need it for. I can only utilize whatever contracts allow me, or they provide you, I guess I should say. That is the only thing you're allowed to do in regard to any sort of leasing of any sort. But the note to be made is you are only allowed to do 3 contracts each month. You cannot do more than 3 contracts in a month. That's plenty. It should be more than plenty. But there are going to be certain circumstances where you've got to be very specific about which contracts you want to do, right? There may be a day where you have absolutely nothing to do, and guess what? You want to do some contracts, and there's tons and tons of contracts out there for you. Well, great, but you can only pick 3 of those, right? So you got to be very selective on the 3 you're going to pick. A lot of people, and I say a lot of people at the time of this recording, it has not actually released to the public yet, but a lot of my members have been super excited about this. I've saw a lot of comments in regard to that, so I hope the same kind of excitement is apparent with all of my regular subscribers as well. I hope all of you are super excited about this too. I think it's I think the changes we made, honestly, are really good additions to this series in comparison to what we had in Season 1. Love this map. Also was selected by one of the subscribers on the channel. Was not one I was intending to do at all. As a matter of fact, it was not even on my radar. Very happy that I decided to take a little extra time to go through some of these other maps that you all brought up. Yeah, this one, it called to me. This is my style of map for sure. for most of the challenges I like to do, at least anyway. Most of the challenges I like to do, we're starting, you know, with very little money, if any, at all. So these are 100% the type of maps that I aim for and like to do challenges on. Now, in the last episode, we ended up having 10,289 liters of mustard in our silo. Once again, there's not really anything that I can find on the map for mustard to turn it into any kind of byproduct of any sort. But we don't necessarily have to for the rye and for the mustard. We didn't get those, right? We got poppy, so our crop that we have got to turn that into a byproduct. Anything else you harvest, you feel free to do with it however you want. If you want to put in, if I want to put rye back in this field, I'm 100% allowed to do so. There's no restrictions against that. I can put whatever I want in any of my fields. I just have to make sure that I've notated down the initial, very beginning, when you first started, what fields had the specific crop you got, and in our case it was poppy. We had 6 fields that we've got to purchase by the end of the series, and we have got to at least harvest them once with that specific crop that we got, and we've got to at least drill them at least once with that specific crop that we got. So there are going to be some people that may, you know, I feel like we got off relatively easy with that perspective, but again, that was all randomized. But there are some people who may have another crop. I think rye has like 12 fields or 8 fields or something like 9 fields, something like that. It's got a lot more than what we have, let's put it that way. So, you know, there are certain circumstances where you may have more than I do. That's the beauty of that randomized, you know, threat, if you will, as I like to call it. We got a long way to go on this field. This is a very, very, very large field. This is really the only thing that we're going to be doing today. You can see just by looking at it. I mean, this is a big field too, don't get me wrong, but I do think this one is significantly larger. Yeah. Now, initially, and if you missed the first one or not, but initially, when I was working through this with my members do get early access to videos, and they also get a members series. And that members series, what we normally do is we go through different ideas that I have in my brain, different challenges, set things up, try to plan things out, make sure it's making sense. I try to take any input that they may have and try to incorporate that whenever I can. Whenever the actual series is released to, you know, everyone else who's a subscriber and is not a member on the channel. And initially for this series, we had actually picked a different starting location than what we have right now. I really liked this starting location, but when I was working through that with them, I had picked a different location. I really liked this location, I should say, but I had picked a different location, and there was a couple reasons for that. One, here, I'll go into bird's eye view and show you. So this is where we were at now, right? The other one I had picked was right over here. I liked this a lot. The thing that I didn't like about it after I started thinking about it a little more is just how many trees are on here. There's a lot of trees on here. And as we know, trees are a little OP. So I just felt like it had too much of a potential to make the series a little bit too easy. Now, that's not to say we don't have trees here either. We do, but you can look at it straight away and see that there are significantly less trees here than there were over that I just showed you, right? So we definitely can make some money off these trees when we sell them, if we want to sell them, and I can tell you we're going to sell a lot of these, if not most of them, especially these smaller ones that are kind of in the way. I would definitely be selling those. Some of the bigger ones, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to keep this tree. I kind of like that there. Honestly, I'll probably keep this one here too. I kind of like that. But all of these other smaller ones, I think I'm going to be getting rid of them. I'm just going to remove them completely from our area. But nonetheless, I mean, just looking at that and then looking at what I was just showing you over here, I mean, there's probably double the trees over here from what I just showed you, right? If not more. So that's the main reason why we switched. It's also a little bit of a smaller yard area too, so a little bit more condensed makes it a little bit more difficult there as well. So that's the main reason why we went that approach. Now it does look like there's rain in the forecast. When is the rain coming? Are we going to be able to get this field done before the rain gets here? That's another question I don't know the answer to. 1600. We're at 10. I think we're going to have a really good chance to do so. Now, I can speed down time, speed up time, speed down time, whatever. I didn't really put any restrictions on that. You're allowed to do that, as you want, I guess. But I probably won't be speeding up or slowing down time. I'm probably going to stick with 3 times. Should be more than plenty, since we're allowed to do multiple episodes in the same month, which is not something I would normally do either. I'm not too concerned, I guess is how I will put it. You do whatever you want to do. Make it your own challenge to an extent, however you want to play. I'm not really here trying to 100% restrict how you play, but you do have some restrictions because that's part of the actual challenge itself. But, I mean, if that's how you want to play, if you want to play on faster speed or whatever you want to do, I mean, I can't stop you, right? It's yours to do however you wish, but I won't be doing that. Now, what I think I'm planning to do here, so let's just kind of talk through the yard here for a minute. So, there was, I think it was sheep or something that was here. I don't remember what it was, but there was some kind of a pen here. I kind of like this area for making the water buffalo. We're going to need 250 head, so we're going to need a decent amount of space to get 250 head of water buffalo. Obviously, we can utilize some mods that might be able to help us get to that point, but I think the space that we should have as far as the fence line goes should be relatively large. I do think we can make 250 work right there. I thought about maybe potentially not putting our water buffalo in our main yard area, but I do think, I don't know, I do think it makes sense. And really, I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to remove this tree here, probably this little tree here, this guy, and this guy, and maybe some of these ones here that are on the outside edge, the small ones. And then I'm going to make, like, the area for the water buffalo somewhere in this vicinity here, so that we have this natural, well, I say natural, but this created path, I guess. And then, we can drop off the food and the water or whatever we need to drop off right here, and then kind of have it go out this way and kind of line up with the track a little bit. I think that makes the most sense. As long as we can make it work that way, I hope we can. That's what I'm at least planning on doing for the water buffalo. Now, we're not really going to be able to do anything with the water buffalo right now for a little while. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. We can drill some grass here probably pretty soon, and maybe we should, in one of these fields here, and then we can utilize that to help us try to get some water buffalo in. It might be smart for us to get some water buffalo in just to make a little bit of extra money. We also could buy, TMR food for them. We could just buy it outright, but it would get a little pricey. I think I'd prefer to do it with our own land, right? So it's something to think about. I'm not sure when we're going to put the water buffalo down, but I've been kind of considering maybe trying an early approach with them, and maybe just going with a very, very small amount where I don't have to put a bunch in, and then just kind of let them reproduce, right? Maybe do like 4 water buffalo. Like, I'm not talking a massive amount. We're talking a very, very small amount, right? Maybe that's the way to go here. I don't know. Still things to think about. Contract-wise today, I mean, like, we've got plenty to do right now, so I don't think we're going to be able to get to a contract, but we can at least look and see what's out here. We're allowed to do 3 a day, or 3 a month, excuse me. Not a day, 3 a month. So if you're doing more than 1 episode a month, that doesn't mean that the next episode it resets. It's 3 that month. So if you do 2 episodes in that month, you do 3 episodes in that month, whatever it is you're doing, you're still only allowed to do 3 contracts. I just want to make sure that's clear. For that month, you have to wait until the next month before you can do another 3. Okay? Very, very clear about that. I'm putting a restriction on that because I do think it would make the challenge a little bit too easy if I'm just doing 8 contracts 1 month and I'm just making tons of money and now I've got enough to get everything I want to get done, right? So 3 contracts is that restriction on that. So that's why you probably want to consider doing some of the larger contracts when they're out there and they're available, but they will take up more time, right? They're going to require a little bit more effort. So you got to kind of weigh that, with everything else you have to get done or how long of an episode you want to make. You're going to have to kind of weigh that. It's not like a rush or like it's a race or anything like that to get there, but, 14,000 sounds like a lot of money to me. That sounds real good. But anyway, there's some contracts out here we could consider doing today. Those obviously are very, very large contracts, and they're going to take a long time. But, yeah. you know, there's some options for us if we decide we want to do that. Maybe we do a third contract. Maybe we do a third episode in August and we do contracts. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, this is going to take us a while. Given the size of our harvester here, this is going to take us a while. The other thing we could consider doing, right, in the contract perspective, is we do have a harvester, so we could do some of the smaller fields ourselves, save a little bit of money. But that one costs even more money than it's even worth. Like some of these, like the price to lease the equipment is kind of ridiculous. Like the actual contract itself is not even worth that amount of money. So it doesn't even make sense to do some of these, in my opinion. But you know, whatever. We've got the option, I guess. Rock removal, I love doing those. That one we probably will do. I actually found rock removal to be a pretty fun thing. Wood transport, I don't really care for wood transport. The dead wood is easy. That's something we probably should do. Honestly, I would literally just buy a chainsaw and do it that way. I would not even utilize the borrowed equipment on that. Because those you just have to chop down the trees. Now, I could, in theory, pick those trees up and then go and sell them myself, but I mean, that's just a quick, easy $1,000, right? Yep, so there's some things out there. And I like that we have different pictures here of images here of individuals. It's not the same ones every time, like this one and this one, right? We've got some different images. Whoop, we got some different images out there. I like that. Okay, so the next thing we need to look at really is how are we going to get this straw up? Are we going to bale it, or are we going to utilize a wagon, a forage wagon of some sort? Probably the smartest thing would be is to bale it. That way we can store these straw bales somewhere. We don't necessarily have to sell them right now, right? Since we know we cannot put it into the silo, it would probably be smart for us to bale all of this up and then move them from there, right? We don't necessarily have to bale it today. As a matter of fact, we do not have to bale it today. We can bale it next month, right? Gotta unload this. This is full. But it's something to think about. If we do the baling, we're going to have some way to pick up the bales. I do have liftable bale and pallet mods on. I am going to be utilizing that to my advantage in this series. It's going to be a long series, so I'm going to utilize that to my advantage. But to do so, there are some mods that I have installed that are not compatible with that. So, you know, we've got to be a little bit cognizant of that as well. I do have the ability to do a front loader on this fast track. I did not buy it initially, but we can go and modify it and buy that. It's another option, I guess, if I decide to go with one of the balers that's not compatible. Honestly, that's probably the one I should go with, because it is like one of the cheapest ones. Alright, so I don't know. We've got, I don't know, would you say we're maybe 1/3 of the way or nearly 1/3 of the way through the field? I don't know, somewhere around in there. But we've got a long ways to go. Let's get to work. Let's get some more of this done. And yeah, we'll see how long it takes us, and then we'll see where we are as far as the actual episode goes on regard to, you know, doing anything else maybe today, whether it's a contract or not. Well, I had to embarrassingly back all the way up here on the strip to the left. I thought we were going to have enough capacity to get to the end, and we nearly did, but yeah, we ended up running out of room, so that was a bit embarrassing, but you know what? We got all the way back, and we didn't kill any crops, so I'm going to take that as a win-win situation there. Yeah, so we're moving along here, man. We still got, I don't know, a little ways to go, honestly. Relatively decent yield out of this, I feel like, as well. Similar to what we did with the mustard, I think it's a pretty good yield, so this is good for us, man. This is good. Now, it's 12 o'clock. We're getting a little close. Well, actually, it moved back. Okay, we're all right now. It was 16, now it's 18. I was like, we're getting a little close to hitting 16. I think we'll still be fine. I think we'll get this done probably somewhere in the range of the 13 to 1400, maybe slightly over 1400 range. But yeah, we're cruising, man. We're cruising. So this is good. Now, realistically, I should probably, given everything I just talked about, right, and I should probably try to do a couple of contracts today. It would be a shame, because I'm not going to do another episode in August here, so it would be a shame to not utilize the rules that I've put in place and make a little bit of money, right? It would be a shame to not do that. I'd probably have to go with this chainsaw if I'm going to do that dead wood, and it's only going to make us $500. But you know what's $500 is $500, right? So that's quite a big forest, though, as you can see there in the middle. So it might be difficult for us to be able to find the trees we need to get rid of. Bale wrapping would be a relatively easy one to do in my eyes. That would be some pretty quick, easy money there. That'd be about, near it makes no difference, $7,000. The harvesting ones, I'd love to do these big ones. I just don't think it's from a time span point for me, I don't think it's going to work out for us today. Yeah, maybe we do the rock removal, and then maybe we do those two bale wrapping contracts. They shouldn't take a terrible long amount of time. These two are very close to each other, which is a nice bonus. The stone contract is all the way at the bottom, though. That's the only difference there. But yeah, I think we consider it at least. So how much do we actually have in our storage right now? So we've got 10,289 liters of mustard. Of rye, we have 20,000 liters so far. So yeah, we're gonna have over 30,000 liters of rye in there. So that's gonna be good, right? Rye is not worth a ton of money, but you know, if we wait till January to sell it, which I fully expect we're going to do, yeah, we'll have a decent amount that we're gonna be getting out of that. Now we might sell it in December. Because remember, in January, we've got to ask those randomized questions once again. Are we allowed to pay off the loan? If yes, I'd like to have that sold so we can pay it off. And then if no, we're going to see how much of a loan we're going to have to take on, if any. This is a great map, man. It's a very pretty map in my eyes. I really like the way this looks. It's a great choice by all of you. An absolute great choice. Was not what I was intending to do. Not that the one that I was intending to do was bad by any means. It was a great one, I feel like. But I think this one's better. I really do. That's the reason we went with it. This is going to be full. We're not going to be able to get the rest of this unloaded, so there's 30,000 liters of rye right there. And we still have all of this still to harvest. So I think we're going to be closer to probably about 35,000 liters of rye. Maybe 36,000 liters of rye. Something to consider is maybe taking some of this rye and turning it into something, right? Maybe utilizing some kind of a mod to turn this into something, which in turn would make us some more money. I'm not quite sure what, but, you know, that's something to think about. So if we go to, I would assume it's in some kind of a bakery product, right? Rice flour. Well, this is all needs flour. We need the mill. Not the oil mill, but the... Oh, maybe there's not another mill. There's a sawmill, there's an oil mill. Grain mill, here it is. Yeah, we can make rye flour with it. So, if we put down a mill... I got a lot of things to think about here. I'm kind of tempted to put down a mill right now. It's going to cost us a bunch of money, but you know, we can utilize one that we use very often. Just go with the smaller version of that, and we can put it up here in the yard, and we can turn all of this rye into flour, which obviously is going to make us more money than just selling the rye outright, right? Rye flour, 4 rye to 3 flour. Yeah. I guess the only thing to question is, have the mods been updated to associate rye, right? I don't know. Doesn't look like it to me. So there you go. That is not going to work. So if we're going to do rye on this map, we've got to at least have a mod that can include more crop types, or we're going to have to buy the mill on the map. I'm not necessarily against that. It's just going to cost a lot of money, though. We're not going to be able to do it right now, right? We're not going to be able to do that anytime soon. I think it's more expensive than our oil mill was. So it's probably just going to be something we sell outright. I just don't think there's anything in here. Unless there's something I'm missing, I don't think there's anything in here that will allow us to do that. I think that's just rice flour. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to. I'll have to do some more research on it. Clearly, it's not going to be today, but I'll have to do some more research on that. Looks like two more strips to go here, and this field is going to be harvested and done. And I am kind of thinking more about, you know, the straw here, right? I've been thinking about that while we were doing the time lapse. So this is the most realistic priced one that we can get. This one or this one. One of these two, but these are not compatible with the liftable bale and pallet mod. So if we go with those, we are going to have to get some kind of a front loader approach or something to be able to pick the bales up. If I go with anything else, we're in good shape. But anything else is very, very expensive. Stuff we cannot really afford right now. The only one that's not is the one we use all the time, which is this one here. This is a newer one I installed. I think that has an option as well, but it's very similar to the other one, right? So it's very similar to this one. It's just a little bit cheaper. Okay, so if we look at these contracts, let's just go a little bit further here. If we look at the contracts, the baling contracts, they want This one wants square bales. This one wants round bales. So really, we're not going to make any money off of that. I mean, 818. I mean, we could do it. It's right up the street from our yard area. So probably if we do buy a square baler, it would be worth doing it. The other two are a little bit further away, but that's kind of what I was looking into, right? Okay, this is all done. I'm not going to unload this directly into the silo. I'm just going to come up here and kind of park it in its location we've been kind of holding it at for the time being. And then we'll drive back on over through here with the trailer when we're done. Actually, I need to leave that on. I turned it off. I need to leave it on or it's not going to actually unload the rye into the trailer for us. Alright, we can unload this, get the rest of the rye, and then we're going to make that decision on what we're going to do contract-wise. We really should do one or two. We're just wasting money if we don't. Not that it makes a difference if we extend the series out longer, but I think it makes sense right now when we don't have a ton of money to begin with that we try to squeeze out every dollar we can get, right? So we've got to make a decision here. We know we've got to bale the straw up. We know we have to, right? We know that for a fact. So I really need to buy some kind of a baler. Well, I guess I could go forge wagon, right? I guess we could go that too, but the forge wagon approach, the problem there is what are we going to do with it? Because we're not going to be able to put it into this silo, right? We know we're not going to be able to put it in the silo. So no, that went well. That went about as well as you possibly could imagine it going. So since we know we can't put it in there, we've got to be doing bales. We've got to. As much as I don't really necessarily want to, I think we have to. Now we could. I don't want to utilize the same thing over and over and over again. I've mentioned that many times. But we could, in theory, put it into a fermenter stick dryer thing and just have it store there. Just kind of hang out in there. We could do that. Honestly, that's probably the smartest investment for us to do. I tell you what, I'm not going to focus on any of the baling or the forge wagging or anything like that. We're not going to focus on that today. I'm not. We'll deal with that in September. I'm not going to be re-drilling this fields today or anything like that. I mean, there might be something out there that maybe we want to re-drill today, but we're not going to do that. We want to get these contracts going so we can get a little bit of extra funds in the account. Nope, please go into the harvester. Please, 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 please. Pick the right one, please. Thank you. Alright, there we go. Perfect. Alright, those are set. Let's do a quick save. Don't want anything crashing on me. Alright, so let's do a contract here. Let's do, well, first of all, let's do the rock removal. You know that I like the rock removal. It's near the shop, too, which is a great thing. So we're going to borrow the items here. It's going to make us about $3 grand. I really enjoyed this the couple of times I've done it. I really haven't done it that much, but I have enjoyed it, so I'm happy to be doing this. We don't have to go too far up the street here, it looks like. What's going on with the traffic there? The traffic always seems to have issues running into each other. Weren't you just on this street? You just do it? Were you just doing loops? What are you doing? I literally I swear he was just on that road right over there. Maybe we just had to make a U-turn. Maybe forgot something. Well, there's an actual random person there. That's actually cool. I don't think I even noticed that. Huh. Interesting. Now, there are quite a lot of smaller fields here we could consider purchasing with the amount of money we have. The prices are a little bit expensive on this map, but there are some fields that are within reason. So we can actually consider buying some of these fields that maybe they're ready to harvest, right? And that would technically provide us a little bit more money. Doesn't mean we necessarily have to do so, but it's an option to buy some more fields. The problem is if I think a lot of things are ready to August, so next month it may be too late, right? It may be too late for us to buy it, and then we're not even going to be able to harvest it because it's going to be withered or whatever, right? Okay, there's one. It's very easy, man. This is enjoyable to me, though. I like this. I like this a lot. And these are very easy to find, which in the past, I've had some issues trying to find some of these as well. There's been some very weird setups where things are outside of the circle. The way the map was set up, they were outside the circle. It was nearly impossible to find them all. Alright, I guess I can get this one, I guess. Okay. Guess it's all one piece. Okay, and one more to go. Easy money, man. Easy money. All right, before we turn this in, let's just make... I don't think there's going to be, but let's just make sure that another rock contract didn't come out. Rock removal contract didn't pop up. It did not. All right, so we'll collect that. Boom. Almost 4... Well, but it's going to be about 3 after we paid for the leasing of that equipment. Yeah, nothing else is really... I think the bale wrapping ones are the ones to go with here, right? I just don't think any of the other ones are really going to make a whole lot of sense. All right, we are set up. Turn the beacons on. Set the map up here, see where I'm going. Hang a right, hang a left, straight up the road, pretty much. Gonna turn right at that fork. But yeah, okay, this should be pretty easy to get to. Let's get this done. This map continues to amaze me, man. This is a great map. Look at I love the little river running through here, and then this was clearly used to be an old railroad track, and it actually has people walking on it, which is unbelievable. I would not expect that to be there, but it is. Like that's fantastic work. That's a great quality of detail right there. This is fantastic map. We have some things like that in Ohio where it's like an old railroad track that's no longer used, so they got rid of it and then turned it into a walking path like that. We have that kind of stuff as well. All right, both those contracts are done. We're going to turn that in. That's going to provide us with a decent chunk of change here. Now the decision needs to be made. Is there any other fields we want to buy? We're at 74,000 now, which is great. So some of this stuff is probably only going to be able to be harvested this month, and then there's going to be other things that pop up next month. So it looks like poppy this is the last month to be able to do poppy. Just to kind of give you a ballpark once again in case you missed the last episode for whatever reason. Well, first of all, go back and watch it. Second of all, the poppy fields we have are kind of in the middle and to the south here. We don't really have anything in the north. Now, these fields are all grass fields, which makes sense because this river probably floods. But, you know, if we look a little bit closer here, get all the way up to the top again. It's going to take me a minute. There are a lot of fields up here that are a smaller size, you know, that are inexpensive, that we could potentially purchase and maybe even do a third episode in August. I don't necessarily know if that's what I want to do, but it gives you the option to do so. I mean, these fields, most of these fields we probably can buy and harvest. They're not the largest fields in the world, but, you know, it's an option. But you can see just, you know, scaling out here, how many fields are actually able to be harvested right now. There are a lot. You know, ideally, you'd probably want to buy something a little bit closer to home here. There are some options, but yeah, the thing is, you know, we talked about it, right? We've got to get that straw up, right? So we're going to have to spend money on that straw. So as much as I would like to have one of these fields, I'm not quite sure it's the smartest thing to do. We could buy one of them, like 39 here might be the way to go. We could buy like 39, and then in the next month we do the harvest of 39, and then we jump to September after that. That's an option as well. But you know what? I'm going to leave the episode at this point. I'm going to think on this a little bit more. We'll figure it out as we move along. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash that like and subscribe button on the case you've yet to do so. It is absolutely the easiest and best way to help me out. It really does help a lot. Thanks to my members. I cannot thank them enough for all their continued support. If you want early access to videos like this one, including the one tile challenge, there's a link down below. Check my second channel out if you want to see some stuff that I'm doing that's not Farming Simulator related. Normally it's first person shooter type of stuff normally. Sometimes third person. In this case, I've got Red Dead Redemption 2 going, I've got High on Life 2 going, and then we've got Dynasty Warriors Origins DLC every once in a while sprinkled in there. Discord's down below as well. You can share progress, anything that you might be doing, whether it's images, live stream, videos on YouTube, whatever it may be. There's an option for you there. You also can see anything that I share or release will also be shared on the Discord as well, and conversations, etc. can also happen there. So thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. It does mean the world. I'll see you next time.